Hiya crafters, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and I have some beautiful layered foliage goodness to share with you. Now this fabulous new 6x9 is called Layered Fall Foliage, if I can say it. It's part of the September 2023 release at a Colorful Life Designs. I'm going to do some very simple ink blending, but create a stunning card in a snap with this gorgeous new design. So I'm just kind of figuring out how I want to layer it up. I don't want this to be kind of fall looking, so I'm kind of deliberately avoiding that acorn on the top. So this is a very customizable stencil in that way. You can kind of just, especially if you're working A2 size or smaller, you can kind of pick the section of the stencil that you want to use to create the look that you want. Here's a photo of the finished card. As you can see, it's not really fall feeling just because I kind of went a little bit more rainbow. I know you're shocked, but you could absolutely bring in some more warm, earthy colors and make this fall, or even, honestly, you could kind of even make it kind of Christmas or holiday, depending on what parts of the stencil you use and what colors. So very versatile. Awesome. I love that it's 6x9 and layered. So super fun, and I'm very excited to have this in my crafty stash. So as you can see, I'm using my magnets to hold down the whole shebang. Honestly, I should have used pixie spray. You can see it's really kind of popping up on me here. This is just the design. Sometimes you have more open spaces that are more likely to move around. I was being lazy, and I had kind of already committed, so I didn't want to stop and do, stop and get the pixie spray. But for this one, not necessarily the second layer here. These are fine because the openings aren't very big. But on that first stencil, you probably want to use pixie spray just because it might move around a little bit on you. Now, it was easy to line up. I just lined up the second layer, and then now I'm coming in with kind of full throttle ink. So I used just residual ink on my blending brushes for the first layer because I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle and subdued. But then moving forward, I want the deep, rich color. So for the openings in the second stencil, I'm bringing the actual ink pad just to make it more saturated and deep in color. So I'm just following the same color families that I used with the first layer. So I did the teal in the center, and now I'm coming in with yellow, and then I'm going to kind of let the colors blend together in spots. Now I'm bringing in a little bit of orange, and then I'll do some red kind of on the tips. And I'm using the Spa collection of Catherine Pooler, so these are the earthier kind of, they're not as in your face as the party collection. So I guess in that sense you could make it, consider it a little bit more fall related, but ultimately with the rainbow and the blue that I kind of put down the center, it kind of, made it not so fall-like. But I'm obsessed with the stencil, and I can't wait to keep playing with it. So now I'm going to adorn it with a sentiment. I have my sentiment book here. I'm kind of thinking black and white, but to start I was like, oh, this blue glitter, that would have worked, but I really wanted something even more bold. So I'm just going to keep flipping through. This Love Ya was cute, and the colors went well, but I felt like it didn't stand out quite enough. It would have worked, but again, I just kept on flipping. And here I have this Celebrate You. This is Concord and Ninth. I was pretty sure I liked how that looked, but then I remembered I just got all these waffle flower ones that I haven't played with yet, and I wanted to see how those would hold up. But again, I was like, it's probably a little too thin, and yeah, it would have worked, but again, I just really wanted something bold and in your face for this one. So I decided to do the Celebrate You, and that is a black die cut on a white shadow layer with the dies. So you get both the shadow layer and the word layer of the die cut. And I will link that with all the other products in the video description box below. But here I'm just going to pop it up with some dimension with these thin foam strips that I get from Amazon. You could, as another option, do another die cut with the shadow layer with a colored foam or a white foam or several additional white cardstock die cuts. So you have lots of options here, or you could just do the little fiddly bits of foam tape like I'm doing and just kind of pop it up. So lots of options, but I did want to give some dimension to the card because otherwise it's pretty simple. I was doing the ink blending directly on the card base, so there's not even any layering or anything like that. I'm just lining this up with my grid on my glass mat just to, aid me in making sure the sentiment is nice and straight, and then I'm just going to pop that down right towards the center top portion of the card. I'm checking the margins on the side of the C and the E just to make sure it's nice and centered, but otherwise very simple in design. Just going to press that down, And then I'm going to add a little bit of blingage. I have these white iridescent sequins. These are really pretty. They're in multiple different sizes. And I'm just going to use my jewel picker just to kind of add those in place, a little smattering around the card. And as a picture of grace, you can see I'm just knocking the tray, spilling them all over the place. But basically, that's it. That's going to finish the design. I'm so pleased with how this card turned out. There are so many awesome stencils in the September release, so be sure to check it out. I will link it below, and use my coupon AmyFan10 if you shop, and you'll save 10% on your complete order. So loads to choose from, lots of varieties. Some are seasonal, but some are just great for year-round usage. So lots of options, and I'm sure you'll love them as much as I do. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed the card. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.